that's inside it by the Polynesians. We're still at a very kind of minimal place in the pie. First, we're going to look at some of the pioneers. The first one I wanted to mention was Ernest Everett Just. He is an incredibly important man. He is credited as the first African-American marine biologist, and he pioneered not only in diversifying his field, but also in the physiology of development, or fertilization and growth, where he went on to look at experimental parthenogenesis, which is self-reproduction, UV light's cancerous effect on cells, and much more. And while mainly being a general cytologist, Ernest did dip his toes into marine biology and ended up actually working at Woods Hole Marine Biological Laboratory over in Massachusetts in 1909, which is still there today and is something that's probably really nice for people who are interested in marine biology to look at. They have a lot of good information and opportunities to stay up to date. Here he developed his love for marine biology and turned his career to focusing on marine invertebrate eggs, where he became almost the expert in their handling during research. He just happened to pick it up really quickly. The next person I want to mention is Roger Arliner Young, who was born in 1889. She is the first African-American woman to get a PhD in zoology. And though she wanted to study music, she actually changed her major after she took a biology class with Ernest Just. She soon after that became his assistant professor and went on the same path where she did research at Woods Hole on the anatomy of paramecium and the effects of radiation on sea urchin eggs. So she followed quite closely in his footsteps. She had a lot of psychological stresses with dealing with being the only Black female scientist in her time, and also with her mother's passing, but she continued to lecture and teach at various colleges until her death in 1964. Next is Isabella Iona Abbott. She is an amazing biracial woman who is half Chinese and half Native American. She grew up obviously she grew up in Hawaii and learned to really love the ocean through that. And so she is credited as being the first Native Hawaiian woman to earn a PhD in science. She went on to become the leading expert in Pacific-centric algae and seaweeds, and she authored 8 books, over 150 research papers, has won numerous awards, and was known as the living treasure of Hawaii. I'm really sorry if I mess up some of these names. This is Narayana Nair. I'm sorry, I'm not going to try to pronounce his middle name. He is one of the first Indian marine biologists and is known, there's some typos, whatever, is known for his vital advocacy regarding trawling bans during monsoon seasons. And the main legacy that he leaves behind is mostly conservation measures. He helped save mangroves and seagrasses and shrimp and various other organisms that he worked with or were in connection with what he worked with. He wrote over 400 articles, several books, and I think 3 languages it was, and founded the Kerala Science Congress, as well as being a part of about 5 other projects like that. On to our modern marvels. This, if we have any women of color in here, would be a really good idea to look at this. These girls are Jasmine Graham, Armani Weber Schultz, Carly Jackson, and Jaida Elcock. They are 4 recent graduates who have created a community among minorities in STEM called MISS, or Minorities in Shark Science. The idea came about in June 2020 and has developed into a supportive network of minority women interested in elasmobranch research, so sharks and rays and skates. The organization provides scholarships, workshops, and even partners with Bimini Biological Field Station to provide internships at no cost. So if you have been here before, you've probably heard the officers talk about Bimini, and that's because that is the place where you go with Peter on his shark research. I think actually Ian's background might be from, no? Okay. But it's a really nice place. It's very well known among people who study elasmobranchs. They also, I actually signed up for this after I heard about it because they do offer scholarships. One of their other internships is through the Oceanic Research Institute, that they would help you get scholarships to go down to South Africa to look at white sharks and some of their hunting coordination and such. So it'd be something interesting to look at if you are interested in elasmobranchs. Next is Daniel Pauly, who is a French-born professor and a project leader with Sea Around Us. He's been very impactful, and he's well known for his paper, Fishing Down Marine Food Webs, which highlights a lot of the issues that we see today that are caused by overfishing and the discarding of bycatch and such. This paper also discussed the foreshadowing of trophic shifts, which have become ever more present. And he is the leader of FishBase, which is somewhat newer-ish, which is an online encyclopedia dedicated to making all knowledge on 30,000 plus marine fish available for free. This includes like life cycles, habitats, fisheries knowledge, like fish catch and such. So if you're in the marine biology minor, it might be a good idea to use this for some of your classes. Next is Melissa Cristina Marquez, who is a Latina marine biologist and conservationist who is extremely passionate about encouraging diversity in STEM programs. She strongly believes that anyone can do science and spends some of her time as a science communicator discussing science in easy to understand ways and words in order to promote scientific literacy among the general public, which we know can be lacking. She also founded the Fins United initiative to promote the knowledge of the wide range of diversity in sharks and the people who research them. And I believe this is our last one. He is Thon. If you can pronounce his last name, feel free to butt in and tell me. But he is a very passionate Thai man who has been pushing for the Thai government, to move along with their conservation plans regarding dugongs, which, if you don't know, are a lot like manatees, but they have minor differences that change a lot. Unlike our conservation for manatees here, where we're primarily concerned with less motorized traffic and such like that, he is trying to reduce the amount of plastic waste that ends up in our oceans and on our shores. In 2019 alone, over 21 dugongs died, with only about 250 left in Thai waters. A lot of his efforts became publicly known and advocated for, and after nationally famous Mariam, the baby dugong, was nursed back to health, released, and then later died tragically. Mariam died from shock, as well as ingesting large amounts of plastic, which led to gastritis and blood infection. So it's important that it spreads, I guess, that this advocacy spreads through not just Thailand, but other places as well. That is it. Does anyone have any questions or thoughts, I suppose?
If no one has any questions, we have a quick 10-question Kahoot to finish off the meeting. So
I'll stop sharing.
But first, I wanted to just say thanks, Adina, because it was a really cool presentation. And actually, maybe, would you mind, we could maybe put some of those foundations or those organizations, if you could put them in an email for later or something, because I want to look them up, but I didn't write everything down.
Yeah, that's fine.
Cool.
If anyone, yeah, if any other people want the information of the groups or the organizations listed in here, please like put it in the chat or like email me or whatever.